Happy October. I can't believe it's October already. Isn't that crazy, Holly?
So nuts. It flew by.
Flew by. So you guys got me here, Coach Nate. We got Coach Holly coming in over in Tennessee, Nashville. You've been out there since June now.
Yeah, so crazy. It's been now 4 months, 4 months in.
Yeah,
Insane.
absolutely. Crazy how much that's happening already. But we're excited to talk to all of you guys and to connect. And it's been a little while since we've done a live show, and we really enjoy speaking directly with you guys. We've got a lot of fun things to talk about today. Well, some fun, some in the not so fun category, but more relating in a real way to just the struggle that continues to be 2020. I think for all of us, coaches are not immune to these things. We have definitely had to the. I know Holly's year has looked different now than she thought it was going to look like when it started. This very much the same for myself, and the same for you guys. So we wanted to connect a little bit about racing, training. How do we just kind of keep things going? What we're doing, what we're struggling with, as well as announce the winners of the live 30-day challenge that we hosted in September.
Awesome.
So lots and lots of fun things. You guys are already dropping your questions in here. Question, Holly, if we get a question in the comments in all caps, is that a higher priority
Yeah.
question?
We'll do it for now, but if everyone starts writing in caps, probably not.
We were just talking about that the other day. Like we're
Oh yeah,
looking at like YouTube
Titles.
subject lines, and if
Mhm.
if like titles in all caps, like is it a better video? Like do you?
Yeah.
Man, it's gonna be a trip. But saying hi to some of you guys online. John chime in about the London Marathon. We will talk about that. What's up, Jason? Marcella, how are you? Paula wants to start running, and I don't know where or how to start. Well, Paula, you got Holly on here, and she is like a wizard with getting new people to start running. So you're in the
My
right
favorite.
spot for sure. Sakib, same thing. Dan, with your all caps, how to handle plantar fasciitis. I think we can
Oh yeah.
talk about those things for sure.
That
And
deserves caps for sure.
it definitely does. Carl, Armugan, GDK Mouse, what's up? And Carrie, who just finished the 30-day challenge. We've been going back and forth. Yeah, we're stoked. This is gonna be a whole lot of fun. So if you guys are new here, drop in any comments or questions you want us to try to hit in the chat. Can't guarantee we'll be able to get to all of you guys, but we will try to cover as many as we can, and really be helpful there. So, what's the updates, Holly? Like, I think we should start there.
Just
The
jump in.
yeah, like the title of our thing of our video here is racing versus training. Some races are still on, some races are off. Like, how do we keep going? Like, what's this been like for you?
Yeah, so I was thinking a lot about this when we were talking about doing this show, and for myself, I feel like if I am constantly trying to decide if I'm on or off with training,
Mm-hmm.
that stresses me out more rather than just having kind of a steady trajectory. Because for me, there's no real downside to training. Like there will be a race, even if I'm not sure yet, versus like hitting it hard for a month and then, oh, maybe it won't happen. So I back off. And then I'm just kind of playing catch up for the whole year because I'm never really sure of myself. So I've kind of approached this entire year with like the plan that I was always going to come to this 100-mile race in October. I signed up January 1st, literally New Year's Day, and that's just been in my
Yeah.
headspace. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that is awesome. I mean, 100 mile, like you've run multiple 50Ks, you've run 50 miles. So I guess, hey, that's the next inevitable stop for
right.
you. But yeah, what has that been like just to know that you didn't even know if the race was going to be on or not?
Yeah, that part's hard because especially if you're training for something that's a longer distance than you've done, you have to keep increasing mileage, and that's part of like your like struggles. It can wear your body down. So of
Hmm.
course, in some ways, people would be like, "Oh, why put yourself through the grinder if this isn't going to happen?" Like it's just been so questionable the whole year. And then, we've had like just so many things, right? Like I had a lot of opportunity this year to just give up completely. Like I
Yeah.
moved, COVID, like just that whole blend. And then obviously getting used to being here, like everywhere I run is new. So every run has to be like planned out and like just,
Hmm.
yeah. Um,
Finding new training
so
partners, people to kind of
yeah,
motivate you and push you and everything.
yeah. So it's not ideal, but in my head, I'm like, well, could it be any harder than this to stick to a training plan? Like, if I can do this, I can hopefully do it in any situation.
Did
But
you have, and I bring this up because this is questions we get all the time for our runners, right? And for you guys online, where you're like, maybe you hit that intersection where you did give up. One of the things we wanted to talk about, like, is giving up even the right way to frame it? And
mhm.
like, did you have any of those hard moments yourself where you're like, maybe I just shouldn't try the 100 miler at all? Or was it like sealed in your brain, January 1st, I'm doing this thing no matter what?
Oh no, I totally have had moments where I'm like, I could just do this easier or more in a more fulfilling way a different year. Like it's just there's always you can always find that doubt. If you
Mm,
want to, you can always find a reason not to do it. Nate and I talked earlier, but if you guys um, are wondering what the point of training is without a race, if you've only ever trained towards an event, um, one thing you can do is just go back to the reason of like why your training days feel good and
mm,
like why what they do for your body. So for me, if my baseline is like I'm getting a sweat in, I'm getting endorphins, I'm able to keep that baseline, right? So I'm getting something for my health. No, maybe it's not like the training plan exactly, but I'm still getting stuff out of it, and physically I'm taking care of myself. So I always go back to that. If I'm at least doing that, then I can't beat myself up too hard for
yeah.
maybe things not panning out. But
I think that's good. I do try to remind myself this is very true for longer events you get ready for, where you're doing an event that is so long that you're allotting 4 or 6 or more months of your time to train, and
mhm.
it's like you're putting all of this pressure on this one day,
Oh yeah,
and that can be really hard. But I think to flip it around, you're like, well, the one day is just the excuse to experience the 4 to 6 months, to
yeah,
be out there, to
totally.
grind, the people you meet, the different things that you see along the way is kind of like what is worth it. And I think this
Hmm.
year we're all really challenging ourselves in that respect, because the race is away, and it's like, oh, we don't have aid stations, we don't have people applauding us, we don't have a race medal or shirt. Does that mean we're not runners, or we shouldn't be doing this thing?
Right.
So how are you setting up your 100 mile attempt? You've told me a little bit, but I actually don't know. I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, yeah. So to give anyone listening a background, I was supposed to do Javelina 100 in Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's on Halloween. So we didn't find out till 2 weeks ago, but the race is officially on. But they've spread the waves out, so it's starting over like 4 different days. Um, you're going to have one pacer only, one spectator only. It's completely a different race. Uh, Side note, about a month ago, personally, in my own personal life, I'm not getting into the details, but there's stuff going on with my family. And so, running suddenly had to become it's definitely a priority, but real life is happening too. So I made the decision to self-host my 100-miler from my parents' house. So my plan is to do a main aid station at the house. My dad is going to bike out aid.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to plan out how often. My best friend, who runs with me all the time, she's going to come out and be my pacer, which I'll keep the same exact rules as the javelina. So I'm not going to let her pace me until after mile 60 or sundown, whatever comes first. And I'm going to try to do 5 20-mile loops, basically.
That's awesome.
Switch directions. So
Are you going to switch directions?
Yeah, I'm going to switch directions.
That's cool.
There's a trail right by my house, which is great. So
okay, how much is it going to be? Yeah, let's get in the nitty gritty. How much is it going to be road versus trail?
So the trail is mainly a bike path that has dirt along the side of it, but you have to keep kind of crossing over to get to the dirt. So I'll probably end up with 15 or 20 miles on pavement and the rest on dirt. So it'll be a chunk.
Literally, but only like 20% of your entire thing is going to be pavement.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I should be able to be on. Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and javelina was supposed to be all sand,
yeah.
Which I've done that before for my 50, but like it all has its own. Who knows? But yeah, so I'm going to do 5 20-mile loops is the plan.
That's awesome. And you have a date in mind?
I'm doing it on the same day that they are.
On the same day. That's rad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And, of course, Morgan is going to be out running. Coach Morgan, she's going to be running
She'll be at Javelina.
100 miles at Javelina. So super exciting. That's cool. My challenges have been a little different. I haven't had the appetite to go after any big race distance, but I have been having fun trying some different stuff, including some video projects you guys will see. One was I thought if this would be a cool idea, but it didn't fully connect that I would be doing said idea when I was thinking about it. It was like, it'd be really cool to run for like an hour straight uphill and see how much vert you could get. And they're like, yeah, we should do that. And then I was like, oh man, that means I have to now go forth and do that. So I went and did that earlier this week. It definitely smashed me. As slow as I thought I started from a pacing standpoint, I still went out too fast. But it was fun. I chose these 2 hills on like the opposite side of a valley. And I would like run down one side and up the other, and then down one side and up the other, so I didn't have to like stop and turn around. And our only rule for this, you guys can do this if you want, is to start and end. Like you run for an hour, trying to get as much vertical climbing as you can. The only rule is that you have to finish where you started. So you can choose road, you could choose trail, you could do stairs. You could go for a really long hill or short hill. It's up to you. It's all about getting the most vert. And implicit in that is that not only do you have to go uphill, but you have to go downhill as well. So there's this total mix. And as obviously you know, the downhill can be as much of a grinder as going up.
So what was when did it first get really hard?
Oh, man. Coach Mike came out and helped me film and watch a little bit. The first 10 minutes weren't too bad. I think when I was in minute 17, I was like, oh boy. And then I was like going for a full hour. I was like thinking, why didn't I just do 20 minutes of this or maybe 30?
Right. An hour's a push.
Yeah, it was gnarly. It was like as much of a mental focus and grind as it was anything else. But, it was kind of fun. I'd never done something like that before. I had my goal of what I wanted to get, which was at least 2,000 feet of climbing, and I got that, so I was stoked.
Nice. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then, after that, I was just like, I'm just going to back off a little. But we have to see what Morgan does, so I'm nervous. Holly.
You're the right people for the challenge. I'll say that much.
She's a grinder. And you got another earlier question about what I've been posting on Strava lately and how I am jiving with air quality. I think it was asked by Alt Chemo 14. She says, Nate, are you skipping, cutting, or changing your running due to the air quality in California wildfires? I have definitely been hucking and jiving with it. For the most part, I'm usually running 3 to 4 days a week, and then I'm doing strength stuff on other days. And we'd wake up, and we're in the habit now of just checking purple air. And right now, it's like almost 200. It's really bad. And so most of the time, with the last couple weeks especially, like my running has been down, but I've just been trying to like work on other stuff. So it's like, oh, I guess I'll do an extra strength workout this week. And, if the air loosens up a little bit, we'll go outside and walk. We'll walk Coach Nordog, get her out for a little bit. But I just started this other thing, which is a 30-day run streak. I've never done one before. I'm actually personally not a fan of streaks, which I'll get into in the videos. Not throwing shade on anyone who tries it, but I think on the long list of things we can do to better ourselves, there's a lot of things I would put on top of just running more additional days for the sake of it. But I want to experience it before I throw more shade. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, and I think 30 days is the right amount to test that out.
Yeah, so
without
dying. So my day one was yesterday, the day after I did my hill climb. So my legs were smashed. So I was like, this is a great fortuitous start. And then the second day was this morning where the air was pretty bad. So I had N95 mask and a gaiter up over my face trying to run with the mask on. So I got that whole fun experience.
A minimum amount you have to run to count it?
I'm trying to go for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my whole plan there.
Nice.
Yeah, But let's get into some questions from you guys. We just got Arsenio asks, when do you think races will start again? So there are some races that are happening right now. I mean, depends on where you are in the world and the state. I know, for example, some trail races are happening, right? Like the Javelina races. Did they talk about like how they're adjusting it? Are they like dripping it out over multiple days?
Yeah, so for like the longer distance races, and they did the same thing out for a few here in Tennessee, like the waves are it's just split up when you start. So they're trying to not have any more than like a given number of people crossing paths at any one point. So depending on the course, there's some running festivals still going on. Again, they're spreading them out. So they're having different people at different times. And then aid stations, they're saying you have to have a mask on the whole time you're at the aid station, but you're also eating and drinking at the aid station. So I don't know how that's going to go. But most of the races, like ultra races I know, are completely dependent on the parks they're happening in. So if they got approval from that area, they're like good to go. That's pretty much how it's working. So
yeah. and they're kind of going out that way. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens next year, with events like, is the Boston Marathon going to happen in the spring per usual? Are major marathons going to happen in the same way they've happened before? And it's like, I sort of have a hard time seeing it. But I do think we have a better head start on like, hopefully some like smaller, more local races will happen.
Yeah.
In a more spaced out way. I think it's a good opportunity for all of us to do that.
Totally. And I think, and I think we all know this by now, but rather than like getting fixated on like what will be different, going forward, it's like we've been in this so many months now that all we can do is adjust. And for me personally, like races might look different for a bit. I'm not going to put it in my head that that's forever, but we like running, we like racing, whatever opportunity we can get to go do it, like we'll take it. So I don't know. It's all headspace. I think by the end of this year, it's like we're just so sick of things changing or being different or things being taken away. Yeah, Boston might not look the same next year, but if it happens at all, like I guess we see it as a blessing,
Yeah, maybe it's like London this year where they're having the elites only race. I was excited. I know there's some athletes that have been on this channel with us. Molly Seidel, she's out racing for
Yep.
American Women's, really exciting. She was second in the marathon, the U.S. Olympic trials for her first marathon. She's like 25 or 26, total baller, and she just seems to have a good head on her shoulders in general, which is really fun. She's out racing, but the big showdown was supposed to be between Kipchoge and Bekele, and they're like the two fastest marathoners. So Kipchoge, he's obviously gone under 2 hours, but like in I think Berlin 2 years ago, he ran like a 2:01:39, and then Bekele the year after ran like a 2:01:42. They were like 3 or 4 seconds apart. But yes, as Ben is just saying, he just dropped out due to a calf injury, so we're not going to see.
Oh,
I know.
It sucks.
But, you know, there will be runners out there, so that will be kind of cool. You know, and Morgan just did the virtual speed project.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying is people are adapting in certain ways. Like she was able to run. If you guys haven't seen the video, it's up on the channel, but it's up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think we posted. Yeah.
It is up. Yeah, it is.
I get confused. Yeah, it's up. But they're doing races where people are competing in their individual cities, towns, whatever, accumulating mileage in a certain number of hours. And that's really exciting if you can document it like the way that her and her team did, because it feels like you were there, you got the experience. If you're doing something on your own, like creating your own challenge or whatever, like it can be made more fun by like covering the event yourself. You know, you can look back on it and then, you know, it's something.
It is. It's totally something. So, yeah, I think for us, we've been hucking and driving, you know, trying different challenges. I'm curious about this 30-day thing. I don't know if I'm going to try to do any events. My goal is to, like, survive. So not necessarily, I want to keep some of my other runs in there, but I'm not going to try to kill myself, see what happens. You know, I watched a bunch of videos of people trying 30-day runs, and they all dropped out at, like, day 20. And I was like, okay.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Get your work cut out for you. Let's get some other questions here. Tobias asks, hey, my running goals are improving my speed for 21K and losing some weight. Is it healthy to go for both at the same time? If yes, how do you keep this in balance calorie-wise?
So the run goal is to... Okay, wait. The first part is the run goal to improve speed. Okay.
Yeah, improving my speed for half marathon and losing weight at the same time.
Yeah, for me, I feel like definitely working on speed. Like when I was originally planning for that half marathon, the Nike one earlier this year, when you start adding more speed workouts, you're going to just be a lot more aware of your diet because you're like doing more performance-based workouts versus just, we all have that one mode we can kind of just go and long run for, or it doesn't have to be long, but we can go to our regular comfortable run mode. When you have to start getting out of that, you start thinking subconsciously, no matter if you're trying or not, you'll be like, what would have made me faster today? Or how could I have eaten better today to feel stronger, less nauseous, you know, random things like that. I don't know if you strength train at all, but that can have an impact on your eating. Like, for example, when I moved here, I dialed back my strength training a little bit because I knew I'd be increasing distance for this race prep. And I lost a good chunk of weight just from that, like just from that change alone. But it also has to do with calories. Like more heavier strength training can lead to just you feeling more beat down. So my answer to that question is I think naturally by focusing on speed, you'll end up making some changes on your diet to help you lose weight.
Yeah. I think that the emphasis, especially when you're training for performance, is to eat for performance, and your body is going to start to change. It's going to change based on the demands you're putting on it. And the reason I'm saying eat for performance, like eat clean, but don't eat restricted. I think that we want to walk a fine line between, okay, you can certainly, there's the phrase, I've kind of seen this phrase out more recently, but it's like you can't outrun a bad diet. Which I was like,
Yeah,
oh, it's kind of true,
so
right?
true.
Like you
So true.
can't eat total junk all the time, and that happens with marathoners and half marathoners that they train, they do these long runs, and
Then they're
I like
starving.
my rewards, but if we overly reward ourselves, we clean, eat well, but don't restrict yourself, because if we go the other side of it, you're putting all this stress on the body, and then if you're not eating enough to manage it, you're not going to recover from your workouts. You're not going to sleep well. You're going to get sick. You're going to break down.
Yeah, I've seen a couple other questions in here. People just asking to talk about nutrition in general.
Mm.
Um, I feel like, yeah, if you get too in the weeds with your run goals and applying your nutrition specifically to whatever you're doing, then it can feel overwhelming. I kind of like what I mentioned before. I always go back to like, what do I feel like before and after? Uh, am I on part? Like, do I feel healthy right now? Do I feel like I'm, able to go out with energy
Mm.
and come back with enough that I'm still surviving the rest of my day? Because if you're gassing yourself and you can't do anything the rest of the day, you just end up, it almost negates your workout, because if you're just on the couch dead the rest of your day,
Yeah.
your workout feels like it wasn't worth much, if you can't continue to operate. So,
Unless you're training for 100
with
miles,
nutrition,
maybe there's the next.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, nutrition's a tricky thing. It's personal to everybody. I found what works for me. Uh, and I just feel much more clear-headed when I'm eating clean. So,
Yeah. How much do you like calorie count, or do you like take that into consideration when you eat and like when you run? Like, how does that, if at all, come into your day to day?
the main things I'm focused on are getting a ton of vegetables in, and
Mm.
then uh, moderating protein so that I'm getting enough relative to my training. And then I try to just put carbs around my workouts, like the more increased amount of those around my workouts, like before or after. I'm not super, you know, counting, with calories and stuff, but I naturally, if I'm taking an off day, I'm going to eat a lot less that day.
Mm.
I'm not hungry for it. So I feel
Hmm.
like I'm pretty adjusted in that way. How are you with that?
I've played with calorie counting a little bit in the past, in probably a way that didn't lead to productive, healthier Nate, less productive, less healthy Nate. And then I paid it. The only times I paid attention to it was trying to dial in like long distance fueling, which I feel like is different
Hmm.
from day to day nutrition. But I am uh, more of an intuitive eater, like you, like California, take
Hmm.
advantage of lots of vegetables, fresh stuff.
Oh yeah.
My
Hmm.
wife and I, we try to go meatless every once in a while with some of our meals, um,
Hmm.
and just like fat, that stuff. Like we just try to go clean sources, and it's like I hate finishing a meal and feeling gross. I don't know if anyone likes that,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but it's like I
Of
try to
course.
avoid that feeling. Uh, my older brother's friend used to joke. He's like, "Dinner's not over when I'm full. Dinner's over when I hate myself."
God.
I try to avoid that situation for the most
Yeah, that's
part.
quite smart.
Yeah, but not too bad. Um, what do we got for other
Yeah, and
questions?
if you guys, I just want to say one last thing about clean eating. Like someone, Christy asked, what do you like for clean eating
Mm.
staples? So just one last thing on that. If clean eating feels really vague uh, to you guys, which for a lot of you it might, always go off of feel. You've probably heard of healthy things, but like you want a blend of protein, carbs to have energy, and vegetables to, maintain your vitamin, minerals, and all that stuff. But that on top of like making sure you're fully hydrated all the time, you will get a real sense of what works for you and what doesn't. And once you start checking off things that like, okay, I felt good after I did this. Also, timing related to your workouts, 2 hours before, 3 hours, whatever. Just note it, and you'll get a very good sense for yourself of what actually helps you versus hinders you.
Yeah.
And then we can leave the nutrition
No,
topic.
I think it's great. I used to think of like no matter what I put on my plate, I was always going to finish it as a small example. And I think there's a difference of like looking at things externally versus internal. And the
Mm-hmm.
internal would be like, oh, I'm going to eat until I feel good, whatever that
Satisfied
is.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it
Yeah.
means like, hey, I'm going to get some more. And other times it means like, oh, I'm actually not going to finish everything on my plate. But I
This.
know
Mm-hmm.
like earlier I used to be like, whatever was on my plate, I have to like eat all of it no matter what. And depending on the
Uh-huh.
size, it's just yeah, you don't feel great there. Um,
Yeah.
Other cool fun facts: there, depending on what you eat, there's actually water in that food. So,
Oh
for
yeah.
example, like if you are eating more fresh fruits and vegetables, for example, like you're hydrating at the same time in a cool way, right? If we're eating
Mm-hmm.
really dense, more processed things, not quite so much. Um,
Yep. Totally.
Ben asks, "Hey, can we get a spin-off of the Run Experience cooking show?" It might be
Nate, you would be
barbecue.
great at that.
I know, dude. I think
Barbecue.
that's
Yeah.
what's been bumming me out about the smoke is that I haven't
You
gotten
can't
to.
even be out there. I
Yeah, I haven't
know.
been able to grill that much of less, but we caved and we tried doing something in our house, and then we just like smoked ourselves out inside. That we couldn't open the windows
Oh God.
because it was all smoky outside.
No.
Always a fun thing. Oh, this is a good one from Ben Weeks. I don't listen to music on my runs. Do you see it as a crutch or even a form of cheating, helping you to run faster? What say you, Holly?
My dad has a very strong opinion on this. Like for races, when I started doing them with him, he's like, headphones are cheating. You're getting how, like, he just was stand by that. I feel like, especially on training runs, if that helps you feel in a good headspace, like, hell yeah, I feel like do it. Podcasts, music, like something that pumps you up. Great.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back. Sorry about that. My computer just decided to shut down automatically. Um, there we go.
It still says buffering.
Does it say buffering right now? Can you see me?
Well, just in the comments. Oh, they're back. I
Okay,
think.
yeah. It
Just let
should.
us know, guys, in the comments if you've got
Yeah,
us
guys, so
again.
sorry about that. My computer just totally went on the fritz, but hey, we're back in action. So we just got a super chat from Bjorn Larson. Thank you very much. It was very generous of you for sending us $50. Bjorn asked the question, hey, been struggling with a partial torn plantar fascia since mid-July. Should I just give it, I'm assuming, rest over Christmas and make a hard comeback in January?
Hmm.
What do you think?
I feel so. I've dealt with plantar fasciitis. It is a problem. Um, we are big believers in that one actually being something you can handle in bits as you continue training, and you might have to lay off some of the longer distance stuff, go like back on feel. But I was able to handle my plantar fasciitis. I'll never forget the first marathon I trained for. Uh, that was my first thing to come up, and
Yeah.
I knew I had to kind of keep going through it. So lots of ways you can address that. One huge thing to not neglect is calf tightness. Like that was one of the biggest pieces that unlocked things for me in the lower leg. Like
Yeah.
we're so tempted to just rub out our feet or like put ice on our feet or whatever, uh, roll them out. But at a certain point, you have to look above that line. And we talk about this all the time. It's like calves, shins, knees, it's all related to each other. So find the spot that's actually tight, that's holding you up, and maybe putting more pressure on the bottom of the foot to perform, which is why it's like overworked and irritated. I
Yeah.
don't think you have to torn plantar fascia. Okay.
Yeah. I
Nate,
think
are you familiar with an actual tear?
not plantar fasciitis, torn plantar fascia. Yeah, which is different from that as well. I think to echo, Holly, we with so many overuse injuries, like it's this dangerous game we play where our body's incredibly tolerant of pain levels, and so we can like suffer through a lot, and all of a sudden our threshold gets so high that we normalize certain levels of pain and injury that should not be normal at all. Like if someone just like parachuted into your level of pre-injury before that, they would be like, the house is burning, like we need to get
Right.
out. But you're just like, it's been slowly building up over months that all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm still here. Like it just takes a little longer to warm up, and now it bothers me a little bit after. I think that's kind of the dangerous mindset a little bit. Um, Bjorn, we don't know what happened if it was like a sudden tear, like you got into some sort of accident and you got a tore, or if it was this slow accrual of things. If it was a slow accrual of things, I think that's just things we have to keep in mind for the future. We really like being proactive in our training as much as possible. So if running is off the table and you're dealing with an injury, that doesn't mean you do nothing, because that's rest after a little while with these types of injuries is going to help. But like you need movement, you need blood flow, you need strength,
Mm-hmm.
you need to decrease scar tissue in those areas, and you can be super active. I think someone recommended swimming. Other forms of cross training is great. Water running could be really good. You might have to be careful, like even if it's really torn and is painful, like stepping on a pedal for a bike might be painful. Pushing off of a pool wall might be painful. So there might be some things you have to feel out, but you know, being active, I think, is better than not. And you know, if you're dealing with something that's literally torn, like it might be worth seeing someone. Go see a PT, have them look at it. Is this something that is going to heal on its own? Because there are a lot of people who've got partially torn MCLs in their knee. They don't need surgery; they're fine. But for
Mm-hmm.
some people, like they do. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the deal. Yeah, Bjorn says, thanks. Doing the strength stuff, my own fault. 10 by 1,000 meters cost me. The engine was better than the rest of the body. Hard lesson. Um, for sure. I think we've definitely all been there. I know I have. Um, what else we got for questions here, Holly? What do you like? We should announce the live 30-day challenge soon, but we'll do a few more questions first.
Yeah, if you guys are just jumping in, we just finished leading a bunch of people through our 30-day challenge program live. Everybody got to do it together over the last month. So what do we have? 6 winners?
We have 6
Is that right?
winners for the different areas we tested. And some of you guys who are on here, I think I saw Carrie and Mike. They're in our app. They've been participating in the programs. We're not just a YouTube channel. You guys can train with us and get audio workouts from myself and Holly. And we've got a really great head to toe injured runner program that gives you like super specific mobility and accessory strength movement exercises to build yourself back up if you are dealing with an injury. And we've got really cool programs like the 30-day challenge. And so we did, to add a little extra skin in the game, was to give prizes for the people who made the biggest change over 30 days. And they had to run for 30 minutes for distance. They had to do as many good quality push-ups as they could in 60 seconds. And one of our favorite core moves, a hollow body hold. We wanted to see how long
Mm-hmm.
they could hold a hollow body for. And so we have winners for men and for women for each category. So those are our 6.
Yep. Yep. So we'll announce that in a bit. One question that I liked on here, Susanna said, how did you both get into running? Like your first kilometer, when was it and how was it? Nate, you can go first if you want.
Ooh. I got into it for, I used to do it training for soccer. Like I was mostly into team sports in that respect. And I remember I decided to, stop playing soccer and join the cross country team like halfway through high school. And I remember one of the first runs we had to do was, our long run, and it was like 50 minutes long. and I was like, I'm gonna die. There's like no way that I can make it for 50 minutes. And when we started running, it was like, it was slow, it was relaxed. We talked the whole way, and it was like the most fun thing. Um, and I realized that when I was, training before, I was just like drilling it for those 30 minutes as much as I could. And so I really got that, adjustment and started going in more that way. But yeah, for me, it was different sports.
Nice.
I got into it in high school, but like I also, as soon as the season was over, I was like doing other sports. So I wasn't like obsessed.
Right.
Yeah. How
Not
about
focused
you?
on it. I got into running. I've done ballet my whole life, so that was my primary focus. But in high school, I joined like just a running club just for like recreational 3 times a week.
Mm.
And I made some really good friends in there. It was the best club because you pretty much just met up to go for an hour and you just did what you wanted to do. Like people would pair off, oh, we're going to do loops here. Like we're going to go do speed work. My friend and I would just go off and do various distances, whatever, and kind of build.
Yeah.
And then we kind of would come back and do some plank holds. And then it just naturally happened that we would try to go a little farther each time. And I remember like the first like big benchmark for me, after you do the mile in school and stuff like that, but I remember doing 4 miles for the first time, and that was
Yeah.
like absolutely groundbreaking without stopping. Like that was
Yeah.
incredible. Like I remember where I was, everything. Yeah.
So what got you into like more ultra things, like when you wanted to go ahead and do that?
Yeah, someone asked me that the other day. It's just really weird. Like once you get that runner's high and you start feeling what it's like to negotiate with yourself through a race. I had like maybe my second marathon I finished, and I got through the finish line and I just kind of knew like I have more in the tank. Like I was just kind of like I could go longer.
Yeah.
And then it really excited me, the idea of ultra marathons existing, and like the idea that I could call myself an ultra marathon runner if
Yeah.
I got through one of those. And then it's just gotten completely out of hand, and now I'm going to try to do 100.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I got into it, and then for me, after running, I actually got injured a lot, and I did my first triathlon kind of on accident, because I was starting to cross train so much and like biking, and I got in the pool, and then I was like, oh man, this triathlon, I did that. So I did that for a while, and I liked how my body felt. I just felt a little more well-rounded, which I liked. But then,
Mhm.
like, since gone back into running, I think I've just really had, and I appreciate that you too, Holly, is like you have such an enjoyment of other types of activities and sports, not just running.
Mhm.
And I really like that mix, So I think it's cool to put all in
Yeah,
there.
and for you guys out there too, like if you're just getting into it and it's super exciting and like you have those benchmarks, like celebrate every victory with the running. When we talk about mixing things up, you'll just start to find that spreading out your activities and stuff, and making it diverse will help your body just feel that much more appreciative of every run rather than just grinding yourself into the ground. So there's always a good approach for it, but I appreciate it more having other things in the mix.
Yeah. I like this question from C. Rosher. What's the difference between training and maintaining, especially for those of us that are doing only shorter distances? Um, for me, I feel like training is it's a little bit more disciplined and progressive. You're trying to build on previous weeks, whether it is distance or even for shorter distances, you're trying to do like speed, or every run is just a little bit more focused on what you were trying to
Hmm.
do for that day. I think maintaining is you're staying a little bit more comfortable within your wheelhouse. You're doing runs or distances that you just can naturally do. And I think for a lot of us right now who are dealing with different levels of stress, like I think maintaining is not a bad place to be. Um,
Hmm.
like I had an old coach who used to tell me, he's like, we can only, there's like, there's like three big areas of stress for a lot of us potential. One is training that we're trying to do. Another is work. And the other one is like home and family. And we can semi-successfully manage to manipulate two areas of stress. of the three, but ideally like only one. So if you're really trying to push
Mhm.
hard on training, then like your work stress and family stress is pushed to a minimum. But the flip side of
Mhm.
that, if work stress and family stress are through the roof, it's going to be really hard to manipulate the training as well. So I think that's where we can be a little kinder to ourselves.
Totally.
Um, what do you think, Holly?
Um, Honestly, with the like training and maintaining, I think with the goals of training, you're naturally going to like gear every workout towards something in your head. So whenever the race is, whatever the distance is, or if you're trying to make a certain time,
Yeah.
it's instinct as runners to like gear your daily stuff towards that. For maintaining, I feel like it kind of comes down to like what do you need health wise that day? Like if I have 30 minutes, that's all I have, but I know I want to get a sweat in, I'll probably just go do something that feels good. Um, without the pressure of like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't get this speed in today. I didn't hit this speed or this distance. The maintaining thing, it always just comes back to like, are you feeling baseline for yourself?
Mm.
I've said that a lot today, but I've just been thinking a lot about it. And like training for something would basically mean your workouts are all designed to get you to a certain place days, weeks, months from then. And maintaining, as long as you're getting the heart rate up and you are doing things to help your fitness stay where it is, you're not lagging. The calorie intake versus outtake, kind of we were talking about
Yeah.
before, is being managed with your workouts, then I would call that maintaining.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty good. Um, okay, one more question, and then we will announce the winners of our challenge. I'll give you guys a little preview of the little prize pack they're going to get, which is pretty cool. Um, I really like this from uh, Rich L. It says, as coaches, as trainers, as mentors, what is the one advice you would give a beginner uh, or give to beginners that they must come to terms with? That's an interesting one. What do you think, Holly?
I have a lot. Like like if you guys have watched our channel, like I love doing beginner videos. Like it's my favorite people to coach. Like there's something incredibly, heroic about a beginner runner. Like you are someone who you're new and like a lot of people are just scared to be public running. Like you're afraid of what you look like. You're just afraid of so many things, getting hurt, comparing yourself to other people. First thing for sure is just don't compare yourself to even how you might have used to run. If you used to be more
Mm,
athletic and you're restarting or whatever, or someone near you that already does it, that's already just better. You will adjust. I tell people this all the time, like even smaller walk breaks means you progressed. So week to week, you'll see changes. Don't look so hard at expectations that you feel defeated, but track your progress. And I think, uh, be proud of everything that you can do and start with things that are manageable that you're in control of. When you feel out of control, like even to this point for me, if I'm running with someone way faster than me and I feel like I'm being dragged, I'm never in control that whole run. So I feel crappy. Like that could happen today, honestly, for me. But if I am in charge of my own workouts and stuff like that, I do feel it's me putting each foot forward, and then I'm just less panicked about that
mm,
workout. So take everything in stride, literally. But I think just be proud of yourself, and even getting 2 or 3 days of trying in per week, just call it trying. It's gonna add up. It always does.
yeah, I like that. That's good. I'm trying to think of what to add to that. I love I think it's easy for us, especially with things we're a little scared, intimidated about, to just go negative very quickly. And I think there's an exercise in going positive early. We're trying to flip it a little bit so that there is a little potential positive piece that you could pull from it, as small as it is. And yeah, like be kind and appreciate what you're doing for yourself. It's like you can be critical, but you could have been sitting at home. And
Totally.
I think that's awesome. And your point, like it's a brave act going out there. So I think that's really cool. Um, more tactically, the runner geek in me, we just put a video out on breathing uh, like 2 weeks ago, and I've done a lot of research on this, and I am just so fascinated with it more and more. We've talked about breathing on our channel a lot over the last couple of years, give you guys different breathing strategies to help. I think a big question we get all the time when people start running is like, I feel out of breath, what do I do? And we used to say all the time, was like, well, just slow down, moderate your pace. But there's a category and group of runners who are slowing down and they're still feeling out of breath. And it actually has a lot to do with how they breathe throughout the day, and as well as like their body's like CO2 tolerance levels, which is super fascinating. But if that sounds like you, definitely check out that video. We put a little test in it, and you can kind of see where you're at, as well as how to get better. Should we announce the winners?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So we're going to email you guys after. So our winners of the 30-day challenge, we will start with the push-ups, is Justin Perry. Congratulations, Justin. He went from 25 push-ups to 42. And just so you guys know, I made everyone send me videos via Dropbox so I could see what the reps were like. And I chose people who did full honest reps, and I chose people who were really like trying to make themselves like they were trying to really interact and improve in some way. So Justin, congratulations on your push-ups. That's a really big improvement in just 60 seconds. So that's really, really cool. For the women, Jessica Lors, she went from 22 to 31 reps.
Wow.
Her push-ups looked awesome. For the hollow body hold, in the men, we have Mark Cooper. He went from a 34-second hold to 72 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow.
And he was making little adjustments with his legs in and out. Like I could tell he was like thinking and processing how to do it. For our female winner, Jay Paul, congratulations, Jay. She went from 56 to 80 seconds with a pretty good position all the way through. So congratulations. And you guys may be wondering why we're testing your core strength and your upper body strength. Well, we think that if we can be stronger, more resilient runners, we will run better. We won't break down. We won't get hurt. A lot of your questions about injury today can kind of be answered just by becoming a little bit more mobile and connected. So that's why we have this in here. And finally, the run. For the men, we have Marty Pine. He went from 3.78 miles to 4.1 miles in 30 minutes. And to give you an idea, he went from a 7:57 pace to 7:19 pace. So
wow.
Flying, right? Like that's almost 40 seconds a mile faster.
That's incredible.
That's incredible, right? And Emily Withers, she went from 2.6 miles to 3.1. And to give you an idea, she went from an 11:32 minute mile to 9:40. That's almost a 2-minute per mile average increase.
That chills. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Marty, Emily, Mark, Jay, Justin, and Jessica, I will email you guys, and I'll show you. Oh yeah, you're winning. So you guys are getting, and this is a cool little preview of what you're going to see from us. So you guys are going to get a pair of Bose audio sunglasses. These things are pretty rad. They have little speakers right in the ears, right up here, and you can play music, podcasts with them. Good battery life, polarized lenses.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty rad.
They're really cool. Yeah, I ran in mine today.
You're not getting my smelly Swiftwick socks, but you're going to get your own pair of wool Swiftwick socks. I've been hiking and running these things all summer. These are awesome. They're good going into the fall for you guys who are going to it. Good year-round sock. You'll be able to choose your own. And if you guys look in that bar right below us, you're going to see all of those t-shirts. You're going to get to choose a t-shirt of your choice. So sunglasses, t-shirt, and a pair of socks. Not bad for everyone who was in the 30-day
Put in the
challenge.
work. Yep.
I know. And we had so many people participate. Um, a lot of people participate, did it. They didn't necessarily enter the competition part, which is cool. It's like, hey, they're like, I'm in this for me, which I think
Yeah.
ultimately that's really the biggest win there. Um, at least I think, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like it was a good distraction from all the craziness in the world, having 30 days to dedicate to
Hmm.
getting better. That's just a really cool thing to stick with. Be proud of yourself.
Yeah, you guys really should. And if any of you guys sound interested, definitely download our app. There's a link in the description of this video, and you can check it out yourself. It's an on-demand program. You do need to become a premium user to get it, but it's definitely well worth the investment, especially with all these things going on this year. We've put so much new stuff in there. Athletes are loving our new audio workouts. Holly's got a lot of great follow-along mobility and core stuff in there, and keep us all together and sane. And Holly just recorded a new hill workout, so I'm excited
I
to
did.
put that in there too. That'll be really fun.
Hill repeats.
I know, right? Always a little something. I'm gonna like chill on hill repeats for a moment
Yeah, you did your
after Wednesday's thing. I don't want to go public yet because it's gonna be in the video, and we got to see what Morgan does. So we got a little back and forth. Um,
Yeah, and for anyone in here who did the 30-day challenge live with us, like congrats, winners, no winners, like we're proud of you. It's awesome to stick with that. It's not easy.
It isn't. You guys supported each other. You guys are already talking about like, hey, what's next? I noticed this. This is awesome. Carrie, she's in the comments right now. She did a great job. She posted her videos. We could see what she was doing. So nice work, Carrie. Yeah,
Vincent too.
so fun.
It's
Um,
awesome.
totally. So, guys, this is a pleasure as usual connecting with you guys. It is 2 hours later in the day for Holly, so I know that she's getting ready for different types of hydration, maybe.
Friday.
Friday,
Friday
right?
needs.
Well, Holly, enjoy your weekend. I'm sure you're going to be getting some 100-mile training in there.
Yep.
We are going to be driving up to
Definitely.
Bend, Oregon, and spending a month up in Bend. So if any of you guys are in Bend and you want to do some social distance running, let me know. It'd be fun
Hit
to
him
fun
up.
to hang. So that's it. Thanks everyone, and we will see you online, and we'll look to do another, live chat in maybe a month or so from now.
Awesome.
Alrighty, cheers, guys.
Happy Friday, guys. See you.